Hi all, welcome to session 24 of Azure Data Factory. And in this session, we are going to continue with our discussion of Get Metadata activity. So in Get Metadata activity, till now we have seen two properties, child items and exist. Today we are going to discuss about column count. As the name suggests, column count is going to give you the count of columns in a file that you are using in the Get Metadata activity. Okay, so it's a very simple property. So let's get started with our hands-on. Let me go to my Azure portal and let me open my Data Factory Studio. In the meantime, I have to create a dummy data set. So let me CSV file download. Okay, you can choose anything. So I'm choosing sample videos. Let me choose this. Close. It has downloaded. Okay, so let's just open. Fine. Let me give a column name to each column. Okay, so I'm going to say serial number for this one. Then you have product, you have buyer, you have quantity, or sorry, I would say, let's say, mm, let's remove these. Let's keep only one out of this. Okay, so I'm going to say price. I'm removing these three. Okay, I'm going to say category, subcategory, and category. I'll say loyalty, let's say purchase points. I will be not royalty point, purchase points. Okay, so you can use any data that you want. Okay, so I'm using this one. It has 5,000 rows. Okay, and let me make it a little more presentable till here, and I'm making it presentable. Fine. Okay, so this is my file. My file is now ready, and I'm going to go in my downloads. I'm going to say sales.csv. Let me do it sales.csv. Okay, so now my file is ready. Let me put this file in my Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So I'm going into my ADLS in containers. I am going to use my source variable input. I'm going to remove everything, and I'm going to put sales.csv here. Now, okay, I think I have to rename it. I gave two times CSV. Let me go back to downloads. It was already sales CSV. Hmm. Okay, I think there is one more sales file already in this. Let me see. Okay, yeah, here it is. Delete it. Let me go back to sales. Okay, let me upload it one more time. I'm deleting the old file and I'm uploading a new one. Sales. Fine. So my data is now ready in the source location, and now I'm going in my data factory studio, and my requirement is that I want to get the number of columns of this particular CSV file. How many columns are present in this CSV file? Okay. So I'm going to say I will create a new pipeline. The reason I'm creating a new pipeline every time is that this is how you do practice and get accustomed to creating pipelines and the UI of the Azure Data Factory. The more you do practice with the pipeline creation, no matter how simple pipeline it is, if you do the things repetitively, it will automatically become a part of your muscle memory. Okay, so you will become more and more comfortable while designing pipelines in Azure Data Factory. So that is why I would recommend that for each and every activity that I am showing right now, even if it is a very small change that you have to make in your existing pipeline, make a new one. Okay, so pipeline, get metadata, and here I would say column count, demo. Okay, we are good with our pipeline name. Let's see. I'm going to get a metadata activity inside the canvas. This particular part where we drag and drop the activity, this part is known as canvas. Okay, so remember that. And after that I'm going to use a set variable activity. Drag and drop here, connect. And in the variables I'm going to say number of columns. So now my pipeline is ready. I just have to do my configuration. So here I'm going to say get column count of sales. Set column variable. Okay. Here what I'm gonna do, into settings, I'm going to pick a data set. I'm going to use the existing data set that I already have. In this I'm going to say source. I have variable input as a directory, and I have sales.csv. I think it's capital S. So let me put capital S here. Okay. Now in the field list, let's go for column count. And I also want to check whether the file exists or not. Okay. So you can have multiple properties also. So I'm going to say I want to check whether file exists or not. Okay. Now this looks good. In the set variable, I'm going into settings. I'm keeping pipeline variable as checked. Number of columns here. You have to go and look for the activity output. So if you see, get column count of sales. Okay. So here you have to get the column count. So let me go down. I think you will get column count of sales. Relational table, only files. Table exists. Name of the folder, type of files or folder, last modified, size. Just a second. Get column count of sales activity output. This one, number of columns in the file or relational table. Okay. So number of columns in the file or relational table we have to choose. So output dot column count. Okay. Again, the variable type that you have chosen right now, it is incorrect because we are using string. I want to have a number stored in this variable, so I want the value integer in it. Okay, in the set variable, set column variable activity, let's see. Yep. So now let's just validate everything is looking good, no complaints from the data factory, and let me publish. Good. Now let's run our pipeline. So I'm gonna go to add trigger now. Succeeded. Succeeded. Okay, now if you see the output of the get column count of sales activity, so here you see you will get both the properties. You see exist true and column count 7. Okay, so likewise you can have multiple properties from the get metadata activity and you can use all of them in your pipeline, whereas in the set column variable I am only worried about number of columns, so it is 7. Now let's go back and check. So in the sales.csv we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, so we have total 7 columns. Okay, so like this you can have the number of columns in your pipeline from an file. Okay, now let's try one more thing. It just came in my mind. Okay, so let's do this. So I was thinking to change the name from capital S to small s, and let's see what happens. I'm triggering the pipeline one more time. It failed. Okay, why it failed? Because file did not exist. Okay, so make sure that when you are using the file name, the same file name should be in the get metadata activity. So file name is case sensitive, so that is why your exist is working. So that is why the first activity was successful. It gave you that exist is false. Since that file itself was not present, it is false. And since there is no such files as capital S sales.csv, it did not give you any count of columns here, and because there was no count of column property, it failed. So if you see, activity get column count cannot be evaluated because property column count does not exist. So when you get this error, something does not exist, property does not exist, you have to see the property that is just before this one. Okay, where you have got the error, and chances are you are actually missing something. So either the property itself is not correctly configured, that means your property name has some problem, so instead of column capital count it should be small c or something like that, or it is having a problem in your data set. So if your data set is not correctly configured, then also there will be no property, there will be a lack, there will be a problem in generating the property, and because of that also you will get this error. So this is a very common error that you get while running the pipelines in Azure Data Factory. So make sure that when you are using your files in get metadata activity, they should exactly match with the name of the file that you have given in the ADLS Gen 2. So today we saw column count property in get metadata activity, and let's meet in the next session and explore more. So thank you so much for joining me, and let's meet tomorrow.